businesses. We also have the GROW project, and I don't know how many of us here have heard about the GROW project that is being done by government of Uganda. It is also a project that is going to support women businesses by providing fairly affordable capital for their businesses. So all these initiatives, I think government of Uganda has recognized the need to support Uganda businesses, women businesses, and I think they are aware of the 11 billion that can be contributed, and as they think tenfold, they're saying, yes, we need to support these women. So women in business, please take advantage of that program and ensure that you get supported and get capital to drive your business. So as we celebrate this week, I think let's take a moment to collectively commit to empowering women as active participants in the financial system. And as women are not just consumers of financial products, but we are also investors, we are entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators. So we must ensure that every woman has the opportunity to invest in her future and to build wealth. And as Olive said, we're going to talk money, we're going to talk wealth, creating wealth. Yes, and that is why we are here, so that we can contribute to the prosperity of our nation. So I want to leave you with a challenge. So how can we as a society leverage technology to break down barriers and ensure that every woman, and I mean every woman, no matter where she lives or no matter what her financial circumstances are, has the opportunity to succeed? How can we promote a culture of investment among women and encourage them to take bold steps towards financial independence? And I'm hoping with the panel that we'll have here, we'll discuss that. But I also think as a key outcome of this event, we should have a call to action. A call to action as women in the investment space, as women in capital markets and financial services. What are we going to do deliberately to be sure that we are going to create the impact that we would like? It's good to come here and talk, but at the end of the day, we must have concrete action that we are going to take and to be visibly seen to impact the lives of these women. So as I conclude, I'm filled with optimism that the road ahead is filled with possibilities by harnessing the power of technology, promoting sound corporate governance, and working together. I think we can build a financial ecosystem that is truly inclusive and one that empowers every woman to thrive, to rise, and to lead. So I'll leave you with a quote from Christine Lagarde, the former president of the European Central Bank, where she said that ensuring that women have access to financial services is essential for building inclusive economies. So we need to harness the power of digital technology to bridge the financial gap. So let's take this opportunity during the World Investor Week to recommit ourselves to these goals. Let's build a future for where women are not just participants in the financial system, but leaders, innovators, and champions of economic growth. I thank you all for God and my country.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Josephine. As Josephine was giving her keynote address, something just came to my mind. We are all women here, okay, majority. We all have, some of you call them maids, some of us call them nannies, some of us call them house managers. By show of hands, how many of you here have those at home? And I have a question. Have you empowered them financially? Apart from the monthly pay that you give them, have you empowered them financially? By show of hands, how many of us have? So I'll give you a story. When my nanny came, I actually now call her my firstborn because she's family to us. From the village, broken family, dad is a deadbeat drunk, mom is having issues. Every week there was something going on and she needed to send money back home. She has younger siblings that she had to take care of. And so one evening, she comes to me, she's telling me she needs a salary advance, the issues at home, she needs to pay school fees. And I thought to myself, okay, how is giving handouts going to help this young lady? This is a true story. So the thought of having her invest in something safe that she would easily understand came to mind. And I started breaking down collective investment schemes to her. And she was like, are you sure this is safe? She had so many questions. Will this work? Then she paused. She was like, but if I don't send money home, the people back home know I'm in Kampala and I'm earning in dollars. And I'm like, if you save, you earn interest and your money grows and you'll be able to do more for your family. So about 2 years back, we enrolled her in a unit trust. She's been every month, because we cater for everything else, she's been saving and her money has grown and she's been able to do so much. So as Josephine was talking, that just came to mind. So I'm going to challenge all the ladies in here. It starts with the little things. That young lady in your house helping you take care of your child every day, preparing meals for you and your family. Start from there. Start from there. That is financial inclusion right there. Start from there. Okay, as we proceed, at this moment, just allow me quickly thank some of our sponsors. We wouldn't have been able to do this without our sponsors. Stanbic Bank Uganda Holdings. A round of applause, please, for the sponsors. Vision Group, Smart 24, MTN, Umeme, the Deposit Protection Fund, ICEA, Old Mutual Investment Group, the Deal for Facility, Level Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for them, please. Britam, Bank of Uganda, Gen Africa, NIC Holdings, NSSF, the Presidential CEOs Forum. Thank you so much. And Bank of Baroda. We thank you so much. We would not have been able to pull this off without your help. So at this point, we'll be having our first panel discussion, which will focus on empowering women investors, strategies for capitalizing on investment opportunities, raising capital, and overcoming challenges. This panel will be moderated by Alison Kwichiriza. Alison is the legal manager at the Capital Markets Authority. So Alison, please come forward and introduce your panelists.
Okay, good morning. Okay, that's better. First, I'd like to thank the keynote speaker. I think you really set the scene and the tone for the discussion this morning. One, the call to action. I like what you said. Financial inclusion is not an end in itself. How are we using that pathway to actually empower women? This morning is a very exciting morning, and I feel like there is no better time than to have this discussion now. Last year, the World Bank issued a report by women in Uganda. But these businesses are micro and medium-sized enterprises. They need to go to the next level. To go to the next level, they need that patient capital. How are they accessing that patient capital? On the investment side, I think we now have a population of over 51% for women in Uganda. That demographic speaks to what women can do when it comes to investment. How are we utilizing these statistics as capital markets to inform how we reach out to the women to make sure they are part of this discussion? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a very exciting panel to lead us in this discussion. I say lead us in this discussion because it's for all of us to discuss. It's for all of us to put our minds together. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome to join me here on the stage, Susan Namaganda. Susan is an investment banker. She has over 10 years of experience in the capital markets. She's been involved in a number of market transactions, public offers in banking, insurance, and the telecom sector, NIC, DFCU, UMEME, those of you who are familiar with those transactions. In addition, she's been doing a lot of work in the fixed income market space. She says one of her greatest joys is to advise clients and help them build wealth. So people, you're in good hands. And I need to emphasize that she loves Jesus Christ above all. So put your hands together for Susan. And next, I'd like to invite Miss Eileen Ninsima. Eileen is a portfolio manager with Sanlam Investments, East Africa, Uganda. She has over 7 years experience in the investment industry, where she has developed a unique blend of client advisory and understanding financial market trends and outlook. She's currently playing a significant part in growing Sanlam's assets under management from 980 billion in 2017 to 2 trillion in 2024. A round of applause for that. And she currently serves a client portfolio of over 600 billion, including the Sanlam Unit Trust, where she has played a notable role in her ideation in investment readiness. Welcome, Eileen. I would also like to invite from MTN Mobile Money, Sarah Bateta Okwi. Sarah is the Chief Financial Officer at MTN Mobile Money, Uganda. She's a finance professional with over 20 years experience in telecoms, consulting, and financial services industry, where she has worked in both Uganda and Rwanda markets. She holds experience in working with both corporate and not-for-profit organizations. So even the not-for-profit organizations are covered in this discussion. And her key areas of competence are in financial planning, reporting, risk management, governance, and stakeholder management, among others. Welcome, Sarah. And finally, from the Deal Flow Facility, I'd like to welcome Brenda Amoy. She's a portfolio relationship manager with over 14 years experience in the financial services sector. And she has experience in wealth, she has experience in business and strategy development, stakeholder management, and financial risk analysis. So I'll just shift closer to my panelists so that they don't feel abandoned. So this morning, we are really exploring the dynamics of the opportunities in the capital market space and the unique challenges and how we can support women really access these opportunities and indeed, as has already been mentioned, overcome the barriers that are hindering accessing these opportunities. One of the things that I noticed is, for instance, we don't have sex aggregated data in the market to highlight how we are performing in terms of investment for women. So perhaps as part of that call to action, that is something we need to take up as market players so that it can inform our progress. But I believe, having had your various bios, people are interested in knowing who are these people behind the discussion today. And I'd just like to give a few minutes to each one of you to share your journey in investment, in the investment world. How have you reached where you have reached today, both in terms of operating as a professional in the investment world, but also as an investor? Susan, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you this morning. I'll start off, my story is long, but I'll cut it short. But my story is not anything short of divine. It has been God since day one, and it started all the way when I was at UCU. And I was there doing BBA. And I'd always been passionate about the stock market. I used to see it on TV. I used to read a lot concerning it. And so I really wanted to study and, focus on that. So knowing that we're going into the third year for specialization, I honestly didn't want to do any accounting. And so I prayed and I said, God, you know what? I don't want to do accounting. If you could split this finance and accounting class, I would be glad. And guess what? We were the first UCU business finance class that was split, and my name was the first on the page. That was like confirmation that indeed I was destined on this journey. And so I graduated with honors and I set out into the world. Now getting into the world, I was thinking now I need to apply for the place that I want to work in, isn't it? The market. But in the market, I did not know where to start. At least I had heard of brokerage firms, and one that I had heard of was Dan Blair. So I put in my papers, even when they were not looking for anyone to work. I put in my papers, and so I said, let me wait. But at that time, I was with a friend who were doing business. We made our first million during the UMA Expo. Went and continued selling, because I used to sell clothes, airtime at campus, so I continued that side hustle business as I was waiting for graduation. Then towards the end of 2012, you remember that time was the Umeme IPO. And of course I was fascinated about it, but didn't have an opportunity. But a friend told me, come, there is an opportunity to work on a certain transaction. She didn't even mention that it was Umeme. So I was like, okay, let me go. I just get a job as I am waiting. But I didn't know that it was in the market. Of course, they did not call me then, but I had put the application. And that time the company was called Crested Capital. I didn't search about it. I knew the only broker was Dan what? Dan Blair. So fast forward into 2013, I receive a call and they tell me come for an interview. At this point, I was actually a bit frustrated because I wasn't getting into the market. My dad was getting frustrated because I was rejecting all the jobs. So in order to please him, I allowed to do CPA. And at that point, I had already started. I was already done with like 2 papers. And so they called me and they told me, come for an interview. And I was like, where? Then I'm like, the only place I know I've applied is Dan Blair. Then they're like, no, you come to Crested Capital. So I had reserved our paperwork from that time in 2012. And so I went through the interviews and the rest is history. I entered the market. And when entering the market, I was, of course, fascinated. The first thing I dropped was the CPA. So the first thing I dropped, because I was like, this is not what I asked God for. It's like as if I'm counteracting what I had asked for. So this was to please Daddy. Of course, he knows I stopped at level 2. I should have really finished it, but I didn't. So I said, now let me proceed. And in the market, I started out as an intern. I'll not lie to you that it was a position that I got. I did internship for 4 months. Then I did, they are still waiting to see the retention and everything, maybe organize their finances. The first transaction was Nick Holdings, and they're like, you work an extra? So I did an extra 3 months. So I believe in that season, God was teaching me perseverance. Are you going to be able to stand this market? Because when people look at the stock market in New York and in London, they think it's the same here, isn't it? The glitz, the glamour, the Ferraris, It's not that, by the way. It is a lot. It's a jungle out here. Actually, the people that are going to come after us, those are the ones that are going to really enjoy. But us, we have had to pave these streets. So I did what? Nick Holdings was the rights issue was my very first transaction. Then they told me to choose where I would want to work, and then I chose customer relations, which was more of an advisory role as well for clients. And I really liked speaking to clients about investments, and I was really eager to learn. So I started with that 100,000 client, that client of just 200 shares, and I like immobilizing, doing the paperwork, account opening, for those who are in the market, that struggle, isn't it? So it was really a push, and I really pushed through. I rose up, I became a head of operations. I started, and I had a good mentor. I will not lie to you, I must commend Mr. Robert Baldwin. He has mentored me. Like, if it wasn't for him, and the safe space, And for as a woman, actually at some point in Crested, we were now women who are leading the departments. So it was really such a joy. He would challenge you, would be like, Susan, you can do that. Now I know Alice sent us and like, what was my moment? As I was reflecting coming here, because I was like, God, this has all been you. I saw God in my entire journey. A person who came from an intern to a person who was able to sit with different players. My moments were, when I was talking to God about it this morning, was the MTN transaction and the Airtel transactions. Those were my pinnacles, because that's when I was now leaving the brokerage side. For MTN, when we went for the first meetings, I was the only woman on that table. I remember Wim Valapute said, we need a gender balance. How can she be the only one? But it's because at that moment, I was the one who could do that job of making sure that we were the retail broker that was going to help deliver their transaction. Then for the Airtel transaction, I was still the one going out there for the meetings, arranging with Sanlam. The Elines at that time were coming, looking for them to buy into Airtel. And I remember I was the one who received the email from NSSF for the 200 billion investment. So that can only be God. From a person who dreamt that I want to work in the markets. So for me, it's not a mistake. I'm in the right place. Talking to God a few weeks ago, he said, Susan, you are where you're supposed to be. So for me, this is not just about getting the money. Yes, the money is good, but God has a bigger agenda for us as Uganda, and I'm here to play a role, and I can only thank him. Yeah.
Guys, I don't know how the next speakers are going to top that, but I am expectant. Thank you, Susan. So we've talked about perseverance, the jungle, and divine intervention. I don't know, Brenda, if your story is different. In one or 2 minutes, please.
No, definitely not as colorful and exciting, but it was really nice to listen to her and the passion. Yeah, I really like that. So Brenda Monyik is my name. I work with the Deal Flow Facility, which is a program under FSD Uganda. And I'll just quickly talk about what we do. We do support growth stage businesses in Uganda to access private capital. We'll speak about that later. So my journey has really been mainly in the financial services sector. I can't go back to university because I had a very, very colorful university life that was really not academic, so we'll not talk about it. So mine really, the excitement started after I started work. So I've really been in the financial sector. I've been in banking, I've been in consultancy, and now we are in the development world, supporting businesses in Uganda to access capital, and I'm very passionate about supporting businesses. I'm passionate about seeing women rise to the top as they do their businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. We are learning, people. We are learning work without Jack, but now work without play makes Jack, but now work without play makes Brenda. Yeah. I'd like to invite Sarah. You're in between
all of these ladies here. Maybe I'm the recipient and a participator in the market. But just how I have interacted with it, maybe I'm the layman out of these very high professionals in the markets. One that actually is involved in the real making of the money that will come to the markets. Because we need the money if we are going to be investors, if we are going to grow ourselves. So my career really has been in MTN for the bigger part of it, but also had a chance to work with the non-government organizations, mainly with a project that was across Uganda, granting different businesses. And that is where I actually got to getting capital and getting things going is not as easy as we think when we sit in our corporate offices and are doing what we are doing. But where I am now, I feel like I'm closer to empowering that woman that is out there, because because of financial services, because of the enabler, mobile money, that has included many people. So that is my interaction with the markets at the moment.
Thank you for bringing the money to the market. We appreciate. And now over to you, Aileen. Sanlam is making some significant strides. What was your aha moment?
Thank you. All protocol observed. Good morning. My journey is less or more similar to Susan's. The way we are here, I think I could be the youngest, if I'm not wrong. And just as Susan, I joined the market right after my studies. I did not wait for university, for graduation. Right after my last class, at the time, CFA was not being taught here yet, so I took a bus on Mashpoa, said goodbye to my father and my siblings as a firstborn, and went to start my CFA journey in Nairobi. Completed level 1, and I was called back home to start as an intern in Sanlam Investments. That was 7 years ago. From investment internship, becoming an analyst, and now a portfolio manager. The journey has been interesting. And my aha moment was just like Susan. I was not really interested in accounting or auditing. With a background in business statistics, I met key mentors that have walked this journey with me. And I think I'd like to applaud them, given the fact that they are men who have actually helped me move this journey. They're not in the room, but Mr. Alan Letabe, Mr. Kenneth Legacy, those have been people that have worked with me in this journey. They talked to me about CFA. It sounded interesting, it sounded motivating, it sounded exciting, and that is how I have grown to become a well-rounded finance and investment professional today, supporting business clients, pension firms, insurance companies, ladies, gentlemen, everyone. I'm just happy to help grow their investment journey step by step. Yeah.
Thank you, Aileen, for that. I'm sure most of you are wondering, okay, we're supposed to be talking empowering women. What is the link? I think it's important for us, it's important for women in the room to understand that the capital markets, they can succeed in the capital markets. We've always looked at capital markets as a boys' club. No offense, Paul. But these testimonies show that you can actually succeed in the market. There's space for you, and who better to solve the women's problems than the women that are in the market? So a good starting point would be to have professionals that are joining the market more than we already have. I'd just like to move to the next question. Aside from having professionals join the market, we know that there are real challenges that women investors are facing. Susan and Aileen, you've been in the trenches. You said it's a jungle. Could you kindly share on the challenges that you have seen firsthand when it comes to women actually participating in the market? Just 1 minute each, please. Susan, we can start with you.
Okay. So what we have seen is, of course, women also do suffer from the burden of low incomes. If you find that we are going, maybe I'm going with a male for the same panel, say for a job, you'll find that they'll negotiate better. And for me, I'll negotiate less because I think I just need that job. I just need to get in there. So you find that the low incomes already do affect what the women are earning. And so that in turn also affects how much they're going to invest. So there is also a need to be able to buffer what women are earning today. As Josephine was also sharing, if you look at the market stalls, the women it's easy for them to undercut their prices to have a sale, isn't it? But a man who is in the market, he will keep that price up until you are the one who will who will bend. So you find that right now we need to find that parity in regards to pay, so they're able to also to bring in that money. The other thing is that, of course, also there is something, I think we all know, the black tax, isn't it? We are all party to it, whether men or women, isn't it? But the biggest burden bearers of black tax is us, the women, isn't it? The man will have his money and someone will cry and they'll look at them and keep quiet. But for the woman, you're already looking in the bag, even whether it's a false story or a correct story, isn't it? To be able to dish out that money. And that is money that actually could be put in the investments. But because now I have to, of course, balance between helping my family, helping the needy, and also putting something away for the future, it becomes sort of a burden. Then, of course, learning. I've also seen learning has become kind of a burden. Women, we can only go so far, isn't it? We are not, Aileen was privileged to do the CFA. Janet, my sister there, is a level 3 candidate CFA. So you see that they are those, but how many are they? There are not so many. But yet when it comes to valuing companies as investment professionals, you'll find that there are not so many women on the table. So that means if even that woman, if Aileen wanted to bargain for a woman, if she's the only woman on the table against the men who are thinking otherwise, who are saying, you know what, for us, we are going with this transaction, and even though she wanted to put her voice, or maybe let's divert some money to this, to a woman program or something, she's unable. But if we can have more qualified women to get onto the table and be able to what? To negotiate and bargain, because men bargain hard. I told you I was in those rooms negotiating price, you'd be dancing around the same thing. But for them, they know how they are cornering themselves to be able to get to that price. For you, the woman, you're saying, why don't we just get done with it, isn't it? We already know where we want to be. But you find that that is a what? Is a challenge. So as an investor, as an investor, we are challenged by those low incomes, the needs of our families to bring the money. Then as professionals who are working in the investment world, you find that it's also becoming a challenge for us to actually assert ourselves on the tables to be able to bring what we can bring on the table.
Thank you for those insights. The gender wage gap, there is power in numbers. I know we have someone, we have a CEO here from the Presidential Forum, and I know she's taking notes. Aileen, is this the same for you? Do you have any additions?
Yes, I do. And I think I'll focus more on my experiences in client advisory. I think as women, in our strengths as being the mentors of tomorrow's generation, and in our resilience and in our strategies, being strategists, there are key challenges that we are also facing. I'll speak to 2 or 3. One is obvious, but it also goes home waiting for a certain time T to start, or for a certain age, or for a certain moment. We always tell, okay, I need to get my first job so that I can start saving. Oh, I need to first give birth to my first child, then I can start saving. Or I need to first get married, then I can start saving. And in all those journeys, I've seen women being negatively impacted by that, because the journey is supposed to be started now or today. So that has been the major thing. I think the other second thing is being risk averse. Whereas we have different risk strategies, or the way we look at risk and return in the market, as women, we are more risk averse than men. So we tend to look at more safe spaces to keep our money, whether it's cash, mobile money, and yet the men are out there. They're looking for the return, they're trying this and that. Of course, in our different age gaps or whatever, we could look at money and investment differently, but the push to look for more, the push to seek access to more information about what else we can do is still lacking. So I think it's something we need to speak to, need to continue building awareness on, so that that $11 billion can be achieved by 2030, as our keynote speaker said. Yeah, I think, thanks.
Thank you, thank you. We have a challenge. Women, we are procrastinators. How many of us have SCD accounts? I see some tables where there are no hands. We have brokers in the room. There's a table there. A broker needs to sit there. There's another table behind. Yeah. I think before we end this panel, those people should have opened an account, an SCD account, and it's a very straightforward process. Yeah. Not so? All right, I'd like to shift a little bit. We've been talking about investing as women, but what about raising capital? Now, I know the Deal Flow Facility has been doing some amazing work around being able to bring seekers of capital to those that are able to provide. And Brenda, at this point, I just want to loop you in to share what you've been doing and what strategies you found efficient in terms of women businesses being able to raise capital.
Thank you so much for that, Alison. How many of us have businesses or side hustles? Yeah, I was going to be shocked because I think it's like a Ugandan thing. You're actually frowned upon if you have no side hustle, right? So at what point then do you get your business or side hustle to the next level? So at the Deal Flow Facility, we really focus on private capital. So that is for example, your private equity and private debt. Those are the areas in which we focus on as alternative sources to finance. Not to undermine what the banks do, but it's also good for you to have alternatives out there, especially for women and the challenges that my fellow panelists have spoken about. So I think for women to be able to position themselves to raise capital, and this is not just in the private space, but also with, whether it's a bank or you have to get money from your circle, or whether you even need to get a grant for your project. The first thing is to formalize your business. I don't know how many of your side hustles are registered. The taxman is not in the room, so many of us fear to register our businesses. But the first thing is you need to formalize your business. Is your business formalized? Are you registered? Are you remitting taxes and doing all those the things that are required of you by the regulators? That is in itself the first step. And then secondly, how have you structured your business? What kind of business are you offering? What solution? Is there a good solution and product fit for what you're offering the market? Sometimes we focus on businesses that are not investable or businesses that are not exciting to different investors. So what solution are you offering out there? And what structures do you have within your business for it to be sustainable? Or is it that when you're in hospital, the business also closes? And I think that goes to speak. I think we have an angle on technology, and it's something that our Josephine spoke about earlier, being able to call your market person. Sometimes you need to have structure within your business. Can your business survive a week without you? For example, so many times we are the alpha and omega of our businesses. If you sneeze, the business also falls sick, So what have you put in place? These days we have so many digital marketing tools, we have digital accounting tools. Are you taking advantage, right, of that technology that is coming up to make sure your business is sustainable? And then, of course, we cannot speak enough about positioning your business as a woman. Being in this room alone, right, is a step in making your business better, because this room is full of different market players. There are banks, there are people from capital markets. So are you able to speak to them? Are you able to network and position your business in a way that opens you up to opportunities? And these opportunities do not only have to be financial, they could be opportunities that enable you to market your business, enable you to access different clients or different markets. And with marketing, it's not that when I speak to Alison today, she will buy my product. I may speak to her today and then a month later, she remembers that she met me at the World Investor Week. So are you networking? For example, do you know who you're sitting next to? You have hustles, but I don't know if you've already told your neighbor. about it. Yeah, so, and that goes to there's something that one of the panelists mentioned. As women, we tend to be shy about our things. You know, even when you are doing amazing things, you're the brightest person in the room, you have the most money in the room, you're the most beautiful person in the room, we tend to shy. And I don't know why God did it that way. It's unfair. I think it's a nature thing or something, but we need to rise above, because the men will shout about the things that they do. The men will shout about their businesses. The men will be able to throw their businesses in your face. And it's something that as women we don't do. So how are you positioning yourself so that today, you know, we have Stanbic, we have other banks, you have the deal flow facility, to make sure that you speak to any of these people that, you know, are working towards making your businesses better. And of course, the other thing that we need to talk about is, are you able to speak about your business? If they gave you a microphone now and said, sell your business in 2 minutes, are you able to? Or are you going to, because you don't know your numbers, you don't know your financials, you don't know how much you made last month, you don't know how much, you know, what your expenses are, or how much you're making in profit. So that goes to show that you need to be very involved, and you need to have structures in your business that can make you or put you in a position where even when, you know, any investor, whether it's in the private capital space or the banking space or someone who is offering grants or technical assistance, can be excited in the first 2-3 minutes to be able to, you know, they're excited to know more about your business. So there are so many aspects, but, you know, you said 1 minute, we could speak about it all day. So briefly, those are some of the things that I could share about you being able to. And also just to mention that there are so many programs right now. I feel like it's a good time to be a woman right now in Uganda, because there are so many programs that are being tailored for women. The Josephine earlier on spoke about DFC Women in Business. In the development space, there are so many programs also in the private capital space that are specific for women, grants that are specific for women, whether it's, there are programs with MFIs that are specific for women. So how are you positioning yourself for those opportunities? You wouldn't know unless you network and you look for that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. I think it's clear that we need to be intentional as women businesses. I mean, without being formal, there's no way you're going to navigate the landscape of raising capital. So let's be intentional in that regard. Let's talk technology. That's the theme of the week. And who better than Sarah from MTN Mobile Money to share with us, because we know that mobile money has really changed the landscape of financial access. But how is this really trickling down to empowering women? What is the impact, and what are the opportunities? Technology is no longer the future, it is the now. How are we using it now, and how can we better use it to have the women empowered when it comes to investment, but also when it comes to raising capital?
Thank you very much. I'll start off with some statistics. Earlier you said we don't have much statistics about women and what they are doing in the marketplace. But from our perspective as mobile money, we actually do have statistics on women and how they are participating today in the services that we have. So out of our 13 million active, when I say active, they do a transaction within the 30 days of the month. So out of our mobile money active users, we have 47% of them are women. So at least we know that we are close to the half of the participation. And when it comes to Momo, any point, even the duka near your home can have a Momo Pay where we can actually do e-cash payments. We have 44% of women participating in that space. Now, when you look at our base and our 13 million customers that are active, of course there are more that have accounts, but they are not active. So I will focus on the 13. how has mobile money or technology played into this? Previously, for you to get access to any sort of finance, you had to have a bank account. And how many people are banked in our community today? But what technology and mobile money has done is that it has brought the service closer to those that were excluded. So that is what we are calling inclusion. So we have made it our aim that everyone must be financially included. MTN in general, we believe that everyone deserves the benefit of a modern connected life. But on top of that, we are saying that everyone also deserves financial inclusion. And that has been made possible by the wallet. That today, you do not have to have cash in your hands to transact. And this technological development is what has furthered the investment that we are talking about. So earlier I said, so what has the mobile money done? In reaching the 13 million customers, we actually go through agents, and agents are small businesses. These, if you think through how many agents you interact with, most of these people are, being an agent, you're earning money and you're able to save. On your wallet, you're able to do a lot of things. So accessing finance in form of credit that can actually run your business. MTN has put through, bring your land title, bring this, bring that. That of the loans, the whole loans that are being given by MTN today, we have 46% women. Women are receiving these loans. But key to note, when it comes to repayment, the women are actually better at repayment. So the reason why possibly men take the higher portion is because their wallets have more money, they are doing more transactions than the women. Actually, there's a degree of financial discipline that women have. And that is why we need to empower ourselves, empower the women out there, so that we can actually grow our businesses. So what else has MTN done? So we have also the merchant. You see, I talked about MomoPay. And MomoPay is digitizing your payments. And on top of that, I can be able to get a loan facility out of that from my transactions in MomoPay. So all of these services are actually helping a woman put money in their pocket. They are helping to grow their finances and also giving an opportunity for investments, because most of our loan products you've seen, they have a loan facility as well as a savings. So while you do what is it that we are doing for our nannies at home and all the people that support us, you can actually encourage them to do saving. I can save as much as 10,000, as much as whatever I have on my mobile wallet, and I am able to get interest on it. So that is growing financially for everyone, and we are including all the people. So on top of that, we encourage women entrepreneurs. So MTN in general has gone out to have a program that we run to support women entrepreneurs. That out of our supplier base, we noted, what drove this decision is that we noted that the very few suppliers that we had as women, as MTN, the women were concentrating on the smaller services like, cleaning, flowers. And so you see, MTN, if you look at where the money is, it's in the technology. But we did not have women in such areas. We didn't have women. We want women entrepreneurs. And this is focused really to ensure that women are uplifted even in the supply of their services, and these go through training. So we were talking about financial literacy and supporting. So we take them through a training, how to handle of financial statements, of documents and all, and most times women were excluded. So we are being intentional about it by putting in place that. But most importantly,
and finally,
digitizing. You see, MTN, internet. We are here to support even the capital markets that we have put there. We are making it available that anyone can invest on their mobile money, using their mobile money today. Thank you.
Information to chew on, both in terms of the investment opportunities, but also in terms of women businesses being able to position themselves to actually grow. At this point, I know we've had a lot to chew on from the panelists, and another round of applause, please, for them. But I'd like to open it up to the audience. We're running a bit low on time, and that's my mistake. But if we can have at least 3-4 comments, questions from the audience. There are hands up there. You can.
I am a coach and development consultant. I support startups to scale up and provide the tools for them to be able to run into the market. I just have a question, a general question to all the panelists. Just to talk about the principle of intentionality, what deliberate actions are you taking as you to have every single year about 20 women that are doing the same work that you are doing? Is it very intentional for you to mentor, not just at a place of work, but just being intentional? Do you put out a call in your circles, different ways, not the people you know, but just an open call for you to be able to have about 20 people that are doing the same work you do? And also, a panel like you would come up with just a recommendation. Let's say if it's a capital markets academy for young people between the age of 18 to 25. And for such concepts and something like that, I as a person, I am happy to contribute to building a concept for working on. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next question.
Public speaking coach, as well as a youth mentor and a virtuous woman. So I really love the achievements that we have made over the years. And I love what the previous speaker said about intentionality, because if we were not intentional, we wouldn't register this kind of achievement. However, my strategy perspective, that as we focus in the next 5 years, based on what the panelists have said, is to transform mind change in terms of long-term investment. Not just, of course, life policy and all that, but transforming mindset, because you talked about the black tax, and realized that as Ugandans, what is setting us back is setting up goals of maybe 1 or 2 years, and we need to put in a lot of effort to transform the mindset of women to think about maybe 10 years, to think about 20 years, because that's the vision that we need to go to. Then the other thing is as we become more intentional into empowering women, I think we need to also highlight, educate, transform mind change in terms of digital investment. I think it will go a long, long way, and I really want to appreciate the panelists that talked about the grants, these different funds that are coming in, registering the businesses, because that could be also the gap that is setting us behind. So the whole point is that we focus on that area of transforming the women's mind to think about long-term investments. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. So we'll take one and then one more.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Agatha Nambuya. I deal in spare parts sales, car spare parts sales, and we have an e-commerce store for that. My question is on early financing for women. Usually it's a catch-22 situation with the banks. They want you to have a lot of turnover in order to give you money. And yet we know that most of Ugandan businesses die before the 3rd year. So what are you guys doing as the big people who have earned that good turnover to support women within the first 3 years starting? I know you solved the situation of land titles, but still, what is that thing you're doing for the early stage startups? Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll take one more question.
The debate is becoming very interesting. Olive, I'm going to leave this in your hands.
Two more, and then we wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you. This is a good season for us to be women in Uganda. That's really, it caught my attention. And immediately you mentioned that, I went on my phone and asked Mr. Google, the top 10 rich people in Uganda. They're all men. Yeah, they're all men. I took a screenshot. I even have the names here. And we are in this room, we are talking about these things. I also know that you mentioned we have someone here from, is it the president, CEO or something?
Yes, the presidential.
The challenge I ask all of us in the room is, what can we do to be in that space? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Let's take one final and then give the panelists.
Thank you so much. My name is Barbara Ansale from YSEV. My concern is similar to hers. What are you doing to make sure that the average woman entrepreneur in Uganda can access affordable credit? Many times we hear of the grants, the loans, but the requirements are too stringent. You find that the woman on the grassroots who actually needs that credit does not qualify because of the requirements. So what can be done to make sure that she can actually access that credit? Thank you.
All right, Alison, over to you.
All right, so I'll just ask Brenda. The question on early stage financing, I think this is right in your docket.
Yeah.
What are we doing in this space? How can young businesses actually access capital?
Thank you so much for those questions. Thing starts with us. The fact that you're in this room alone is a step in the right direction. Much as the top 10 richest men or even 15 men in Uganda, the top richest, I'm even saying men unconsciously, imagine that, but the top richest people are men. That goes to show you what we always think about, right? Those are the biases that are ingrained in us and we don't even think about. But at the end of the day, there's so much that is being done. If you also go back to Google and search for top female entrepreneurs in Uganda, you'll notice that that number is going up. There are a lot of women that are being more intentional about growing their wealth in different ways, whether it's with business or through investments and things like that. And also, I think we can also refer to the statistics that she shared earlier. So there is work being done, and that should not scare us or deter us. It really starts with us, and in a few years to come, that story will definitely change. And what can young businesses do? They are, of course, I think I mentioned earlier that there are alternative sources to financing. Most times, you know, people are asking for titles, they are asking you for programs that are happening in the market that are supporting businesses from the startup phase. I thought I saw a banner for, oh, it was smart. I thought I saw Startup Uganda. So there are so many accelerators that you can be a part of. And this takes me back to what I spoke to you earlier on about positioning yourself and trying to find out what opportunities are there in the market, especially for younger businesses. At the Deal Flow facility, we tend to support more mature businesses at the growth stage level, but I can also mention it to you now, honestly, that we also struggle to get female-owned businesses that fit within our criteria, and we are being more intentional about supporting them, about offering capacity building to them, and also being able to link them to other programs programs that may be able to support them. For example, there's the NSSFI Innovator program that is really dedicated to women that are there, and you just need to be able to search. If you do a quick Google search as well, you should be able to be pointed in the right direction. But also, as we get those opportunities, I go back to my earlier point, are you ready for that kind of investment? Because you are looking for those opportunities, but is your business ready? Are you doing enough? Let that opportunity.
It's very exciting, but allow me to wrap up this session. The panelists are still here. Feel free to interact with them after the session. But I'd like us to close with a parting shot, just a quick parting shot from each of the panelists. We've done a small SWOT analysis. We know our strengths. Financial discipline is one of them. We know some of our weaknesses. We need that mindset shift. But just speaking to the question on intentionality, if we can have a parting shot on how we can be intentional around breaking these barriers and unlocking these opportunities as we close the panel. We'll start with you, Brenda, and go down the line. Just your parting shot on that.
Okay. So,
sorry, intentionality? Yes. But breaking barriers?
Yeah. So like I said, breaking barriers starts with us. What are we doing to support the women in our circles? What are we doing to basically support the younger women and mentor them? If you're in a position to mentor, if you're in a position to offer advice and guide and expose women to opportunities, then it's something that we really have to do, and it's something that we are being intentional about. The Deal Flow Facility. Personally, I do run a podcast called the Rise and Thrive podcast. She talked about intentionality, and for me that is my way, because like I said, I'm passionate about businesses and entrepreneurship support. So for me that is a way of giving back. So it's a platform for businesses to share their journey, their struggles and how they've overcome them, and different opportunities in the market. It's on YouTube and different podcast channels. You can listen in, and for me it's for people to learn. So when you spoke about intentionality, that is what I'm doing personally. But it's like I said, it starts with each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Please subscribe to the podcast, guys.
To get the details. Okay,
Sarah?
My parting shot on growth of wealth for women is concentrating on financial discipline. The panelists here said they don't like accounting. I'm an accountant and I like it very much. I think for you to be able to grow, you actually need to keep good records. Many times, women businesses are failing because they are not keeping good records. Here and there of financial management, which is very key. If you do not keep your financial documents well, if you don't keep your financial records well, there's no way you can record growth. There's no way you can know whether you're actually growing or not. And you won't be able to sell your business even when there's an investor that is ready to help. So my call to all of us is to keep good financial records of everything we do. Our side hustles, our personal expenses, everything. It will help us to progress.
Thank you, Sarah. Eileen?
My parting shot is going to be in line with the previous question that was about what are we doing in terms of mentorship, but then also leveraging on technology. So of course, in my line of work, I think I interact with about 20 women every year, just asking about the different investment opportunities. And as Sanlam, of course, we have leverage on technology, especially on the unit trust side. We've built our own system that has been able to tap into partnerships with MTN and Airtel in terms of being able to access investment through mobile money, and building our own mobile apps, both on iOS and our client portal. In terms of mentorship, I think just this year, I have to give an example. I sat down, I brought around 5 of my young cousins who are in the university currently, first year and second year, and sat them down and took them through what investments are, what CIS schemes are. And I think that's part of the work that I do every day. And speaking into that, I think for me, my parting shots would be 3. 1, seek information. Seek as much information as possible. We are in the digital age. We are on TikTok and Instagram looking at those beautiful pictures. We want to travel, we want to access the world. But my call to you would be those social media apps can be actually molded. Mold your algorithm, use your social media. Ladies, we all have mobile phones. I have seen everyone, at least in this room, has a smartphone. Mold your algorithm on TikTok and Instagram to speak to you in terms of investments, to speak to you in terms of financial growth. Use your YouTube. There's a lot of information on YouTube in terms of learning how to grow an investment portfolio, diversification, portfolio optimization from low to medium to high risk, types of investment classes. And as you do this, please look for a mentor, look for an investment expert to work with you. I myself am available. As Sanlam, we're available to speak to your groups in investment clubs, on those social media groups that you're in on WhatsApp while you're gossiping about the lady who beat up a police officer last week. You know, you can put us in those forums so that you can engage with you on how you can grow yourselves. And I think the last thing is, as fund managers, Sanlam, as the Capital Markets Authority, Uganda Securities Exchange, all these organizations have built digital platforms on LinkedIn, on Twitter, that have X-Spaces conversations, that have webinars. Take advantage of that. There's a lot of information. And I know in these rooms, as much as we are also doing this for ourselves, we are wives, we are mothers, we are heads of investment clubs. So take this information and feed it to everyone, up to the nanny that we talked about earlier, so that we can build financial inclusion and grow as women. I think for me, that's my call to action. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the call to action is taking shape. Josephine?
Yeah.
Finally, Susan.
Sorry, I missed one. Sorry. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, as we grow our businesses and our investment portfolios, as ladies, please seek legal advice. I think for me, in the last 2 or 3 years, I have seen that also be pertinent, especially given the fact that most of the times we are the ones who are in partnerships, whether marriage, whether with our fellow women or fellow men. Seek legal advice in terms of documentation, in terms of building your business plans. Protect yourselves as you grow your money. We want to be rich, but we want the money to stay with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Susan.
Thank you so much. I think on intentionality, I have really strived to ensure that I'm unafraid, as Susan, to pass on the information that I have. Because sometimes also we are the agenda that keeps certain things to ourselves, isn't it? We are very competitive in nature. I do not want a sister to go ahead of me. But then for me, I've really tasked myself, and that has not been a problem for me. So I have released as much information as I can. I know there are people in this room who can put up their hands that I have taught them something. Put up your hands. Remy, I can see you. Janet. Yeah, Melissa, that I have taught them something. So I'm unafraid how to advise. However, I'm open to be able to walk in that journey with anyone who wants to actually enter and walk and work in the market. So that is one journey that I'm able to pledge right now and right here, because it's possible. There is a lot of space, there's a lot of opportunities. The funds are growing bigger and bigger. They have told you Sanlam is at 2.2 trillion. They need a lot of people to manage that money, isn't it? So they need professionals that are well trained. So I'm available for that. The last one would be, there is a lady that I love and I've read about and followed over the years. She's called Folusho Alakija. When the CEO of Stedfin stood up and said there was no rich woman, she is one of those wealthy women. I mean, she's an oil magnate, and we're talking about industries I think it was Sarah who mentioned that we are in the supplying of makeup, supplying of flowers, but this lady is an oil magnate. She has even shares in diamond mines. Of course, she also has the textile industry, and she really inspires me as a person, and I know we can get there. Our small businesses can grow into those large businesses. It's just that at times we are like, you know what? As long as I have a shop front that is maybe this big, I have maybe about 20 employees, I think I have what? I have made it, isn't it? We're even afraid to bring other people to come and walk that journey with us. For example, if I was starting up such a business, but then I know that right now it has gotten to a place where I need other partners, and I know that Aileen is best suited to come and join me in my business because she brings, of course, the money, but also she brings a different type of what? Of mindset and skill set. I need her, isn't it? So it is time to let go of, in Africa especially, of the mindset that I'm my own person, isn't it? Everyone wants to have a business. Susan Namaganda Enterprises. Yes, it's a good thing, but then it does not make any sense. If you look at Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway was a textile industry that one of his first investments, but it was not necessarily that he has these companies and he has grown them. He partnered with the late Charlie Munger, who was great at identifying the golden industries that let's invest here. And he was not afraid to share his space with other people. That is why it is time for us, when we get to a equity, and then finally listing on the what? On the stock exchange. So thank you so much.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to close the panel. Guys, all good things come to an end. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our very able panelists. Thank you, ladies, for a job well done. I would like to thank you, the audience, for making this discussion vibrant and for your inputs and for your... Oh, all right. If we can just have a quick photo.
A big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much, Alison and the panelists, for very insightful discussion. As listening to the panelists speak, it reminded me of a very hard conversation I had with one of my brothers a while back as I started work. I come from a family of 4 boys, okay, 6 if you count my cousins, only girls, so I was used to being treated a certain way. So I start work, and I remember I was ranting about one of my bosses at the time, not at CMA. And he told me, when you walk into a room, are they seeing a beautiful face, a well-dressed lady, or are they looking at you and all they can think about is she is fire? When she speaks, the content that comes from her mouth, earn your place at the seat of men. Network. Do your research, be well informed. If you're running a business, know your business in and out. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know this. Get mentors. We've spoken about mentors here. Get mentors. Get a fellow woman to mentor you, but also get a guy to mentor you. There are things that men see that we do not see. And he challenged me. He was like, the issue with us, with you women, is you tend to be very emotional. And it's something women always refer to when we are in a boardroom with women. Are like, the issue with her is she gets emotional. She's making emotional decisions. Be objective, learn to manage your emotions. So I challenge you, ladies, find your seat at the table of men. On your seat, be the boss lady. So at this point, I would like to invite the CEO of Smart24. Smart24 has been a very instrumental partner to the Capital Markets Authority in terms of coverage and also our public awareness campaigns. Miss Allen Kavindi, kindly step forward. I'll give you 2 minutes to just give a few remarks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As she said, my name is Alan Kabindi, CEO Smart 24 TV. Forward and seeing good things happen. Not so many times I do this, but when I get an opportunity, I always do. At Smart 24 TV, we're a platform that pushes businesses. That is our niche. Our niche as Smart 24 business. Put it out to whoever your target is. Please come, let's talk. Let's talk about how we can make things happen. It is a nice thing to see many people getting out of the comfort zones. I personally am not I'm not a professional business person. I am actually a medical profession, but I've always not been I've been never afraid of getting out and doing different things. Actually, all my career-wise, until maybe for the ladies that whatever it is that you're trying to do, I say I challenge you to go out there and start up something. So thank you so much for giving me this time or this opportunity to speak to you. My crew, thank you so much for all the work that you do. Please, ladies, business, you need a platform to showcase your whatever it is that you're selling. Please don't hesitate. Come, let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can push each other forward. It is always a beautiful thing to see a lady stand up for another lady, push another lady. I have learned a lot from the panelists. Please, thank you so much for all that information. Stay blessed. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Alan. Thank you very much for always partnering with us. In the interest of time, we'll be moving on to our second panel discussion, which will focus on investment success stories in the capital markets, focusing on insights from women at different stages of life. Now, this panel will be moderated by the one and only Miss Lynn Tukey, has background in media and communications. Lynn is passionate about the intersection of technology and communication and online personal branding. And interestingly, her current research is focusing on how online personal brands of company executives shape public perceptions of their organizations. So I think the CEOs in the room, Josephine, Paul, should talk to Lynn. Yeah. Lynn's expertise has been recognized through several accolades of the year by the Public Relations Association of Uganda, and named among the top 100 most influential fintech PR professionals globally by Propel USA. So the CMA doesn't just employ anyone based on this bio. Lynn, please step forward.
Thank you, Olive. They said we shout about our side hustles as well. My CEO is there. My main hustle is, yes, like Olive said, I am in charge of communications and public relations at the Capital Markets Authority. Authority is a semi-autonomous body that was set up by an Act of Parliament in 1996, the Capital Markets Authority Act, CAP 64. Alison will have to explain what that means. Yes, CMA is responsible for promoting and developing the capital markets in Uganda. So we are a regulator, but we also develop the capital market space. Hence, this collaboration with our different market intermediaries to make sure that we actually have investor awareness, investor education taking shape in our country. For the love of women have been stepped on for such a long time, and it is time for us to stand up for ourselves. So the underserved communities and being the women being talked about today, women in investment. We had an X-Space on Monday about investment opportunities for the youth, and we called different market intermediaries, and you'd be surprised there was only one lady on the panel. But surprisingly, why we are here today is to discuss the success stories from the few women. Money to talk about wealth, but also inspire our fellow women. So please join me in welcoming this panel. A round of applause. The first one we'll be having is Dr. Christine Lubega. Dr. Christine, she's actually a medical doctor. So clap again. You can just take the far left. Yeah. We have Miss Vasta Kamara. Yes, I hear hoo-hoo. Is that hululating? Miss Sandra, Miss Mercy Agaba. Thank you. Clap for yourselves. You're all looking bright, vibrant, as the rest of the panelists sit, because it is also an opportunity to go and pee every 5 seconds in case I need to. Start from the far left.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name's Dr. Christine Lubega. I'm an owner of a medical center. I'm a medical director. I'm a business lady and an investor. I have invested in rental. I won't talk about, but that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
My name is Vasta Kamara, and I'm the CEO of Harvest Multipurpose Cooperative. It's a cooperative that's affiliated to Worship Harvest Ministries. Yes. Oh, it sounds like there are some people from the ministry in the room. Good to know. Yes, my background is in banking and investment, and I'm passionate about investments on a personal front, but also on the corporate front. I'm also a certified leadership coach, and my experience in the leadership coaching space is of about 6 years, banking and investment over 11 years. That's some of the spaces. You'll hear me being referred to as pastor. Wow. I am excited to be here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
My name is Mercy Tumukunde Agaba. Like Vasta, I am a CEO at Stedfin Uganda Circle. This is a circle for the U.S. Embassy employees in Uganda. We are in charge of investing not only our money, but money of millions of people. And nice. So we are here to represent not only our portfolio, personal portfolio, but portfolio of the circles that we lead. Yes. Nice. I am a teacher by profession, by the way. Yes, I'm a teacher by profession. I am a student of economics. I am a mother. I am an investor. My husband and I invest in a very interesting product, because we mind about feeding nations with health meals and health good food. So please look out for them. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sandra Mutibwa. I do investment advisor.
Can you hear Sandra? Oh. Closer to the mic, yeah. Just closer, I think.
Yeah, my name is Sandra Mutibwa. Is that better?
Yeah.
My name is Sandra Mutibwa. Is that better? Is it me?
Try this.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that better?
Do a hoo-hoo, please. Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Is that better? Yeah. Yes, my name is Sandra Mutibwa. I'm into business.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's nice to meet you all and to see you all. My name is Faith Mwanga. I'm a bank assurance manager at Sanlam Life, Uganda. I'm married, and which is what I would call my side hustle. So
nice.
This is the right space to be in.
All right. So today we're really going to.
Where is Dorothy? Yes, Dorothy Mwesigwa. We run a women mentorship program, and we came along with some ladies who belong to that women mentorship program. Please, women who are here, would you please stand up?
The side that didn't work, getting people to pay you is a total. I can think about how can I create a passive income, where I go to sleep and, there's someone who is working, or there's money that, I'm making money even while I'm asleep. So the CSI really spoke to me, and, I did a way to create a passive income. And with using the Sanlam Unit Trust, I was able to do this. And with starting small, as little, every month, I've seen my money grow over time. And with the power of compounding, you see your money grow and up and see how your money is growing. And so this really worked for me. We pull souls together and grow together. And using these platforms, checking out, you can even call the unit manager and say, okay, I see maybe the stock exchange where you get the stressful, an uncertainty that can come with the capital markets. For sure, the fact is that it can be, without, that was, it felt stressful for me. So using this platform of the Unit Trust helped me to grow money. We've grown our money over time. We've invested in real estate from this fund that we're putting aside. I think it's really been an innovative and an excellent way that I've seen my money grow, and I look forward to finding more ways to grow money using this platform.
Yeah, and around, especially for those in the room that haven't yet participated in these collective investment schemes, like she mentioned, we have a brochure on every table. If you're looking for information on investing in shares, in bonds, unit trusts, please just make use of this little brochure. I know that we have talked about a few statistics about the SCD accounts. I think Alison had 92,165 CIS accounts had been opened by Ugandans saving through the collective investment scheme. So you can see how that sector is rapidly growing. And as of 30th September 2024, we have seen the domestic market capitalization. What that means is capital markets is actually growing steadily. And a total of 2.3 trillion has been raised through the sale of shares on the stock exchange alone. I think a round of applause for the stock exchanges. Now, I just want to also hear from you, Mercy. Can you just tell us a little bit about your investment journey in the capital markets? Where did you start from, and what do you think made you start investing?
You're looking at me, Sandra, not Mercy.
Oh, yes, Sandra. Oh, Sandra. Yes. I had told you to sit in order. You refused. Yes, Sandra. Sandra, please.
For me, I think it was a card that was dealt to me in the beginning. It comes with work. Fine, I'd heard about the capital markets and everything, but on the international level. So some to do personal business, consultancy, and farming and everything. But that was dealt to me, so that's how I get to know about these markets, how my interest grew in there, and since then it has been a passion. I mentor people, I still speak to the clients. I have a portfolio, I still have a portfolio, people still call you for advice, so it's something that I've taken on passionately, that the networks I've made in there, even for personal invest card that was dealt to me in that sense from a young age when I joined the fund management company that, I grew the interest that has moved on up to now. So I still mentor people. I still look out for what's happening on the markets. I invest personally in different investment vehicles, assets, and,
Can you tell us some of those investment vehicles?
Yes. I have investments in the equities, in the government securities, in the CIS. I've gone into property, so it's a mixture of everything. At least I've learned how to manage several, what works for me, it's not the whole, in the beginning it's the bandwagon, everyone is doing this, let's do this. Everyone is doing this without the knowledge that comes with it, but I think having worked for a bit in this field, has helped me, has guided me on what to do and where to go. Thank you.
And I know Faith had talked about her investment journey in the unit trust space.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us something about the equities since you have invested in them? What has the journey been like for you?
For me, what I look at with the equities, what I've noticed, what most Ugandans do is, even without knowing why maybe a company has put their shares up out there, people go with, we hear MTN is here, we hear Stanbic is here, we hear, and people are buying just for the sake, and then you end up either being disappointed, others think it's a get-rich scheme, I'll get in next year, I'll get out, so people are disappointed in that way. But for me, what has worked for me is investing in different companies. They're not all at the same level. There are some where your dividends will be up there, but also the comfort of it, I know when to sell and then when to buy in, the pricing and everything. I'm able to, follow up on that. I know where to go. If I can't do it on by myself, I'll call up a colleague, an ex-colleague, and ask them, what do you think of this? If I did this, should I buy more? Should I come out? So that for me has worked for me, and that's a call to everyone. Many people just buy the shares and let them sit. They actually don't understand why they bought into the shares, or I just know I have Umeme shares this much and I sit. People don't know that you can actually top up, you can actually buy more, or you can actually sell some, So there's all those dynamics which I think people should be intentional about, not go with a bandwagon, but actually be more informed on what you're purchasing and how it plays out in the market, so that you don't lose out. Let it be an investment you profit from, not just because everyone bought, I go and buy. No, please be intentional about your investments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. And I think what she's trying to say is that we should always consult an advisor, a licensed advisor by the Capital Markets Authority, a broker that is licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, because they provide these services where they actually guide you on where to invest, how to invest. But also the beauty about the unit trust, the fact that you have a professional manager to help you worry about all those headaches while you rest at home and not have to worry. But of course, depending on your level you are at in terms of how you understand the investment journey, that is a decision you'd have to make. So thank you so much for that, Sandra. Mercy, perhaps you can talk to us about your investment journey as well.
Thank you very much. I have a colleague, the largest circle in Africa, and he's one of my mentors. One time when I became a CEO, he told me a statement and said, Mercy, some people sit in those chairs and they are CEOs, and others sit in those seats and they are COOs. Yes, CEOs and COOs. And so he told me, Mercy, now that you're in that space, you have to be a CEO. What does that mean? It means that there's a lot of organizations where people come together and save little bits of money. It's not a lot of money. 10,000, 1 million, 10 million, 50 million. We come together and save money, collective savings, collective investments. And so we find ourselves members. I talk about Mercy as well, because I'm a member of the circle. And one of the things that we looked at is we need to make sure that money makes money all the time. Money makes money all the time. What did we do? We invited a group of key members in our circle, and we sat together in the boardroom. And we said, how can we invest? We had money in bank accounts. We still have money in bank accounts. But we make sure that that money makes money. Yes. Someone talked about research here, and reading, and shopping the market. We had to go and do research from bank to bank, from different investors in the market. from the players in the market. Who is going to invest our money and who is going to give us a good rate? And because of that, we agreed that we have to diversify our investments. Diversification of investments is very important at group level, but also at an individual level. Because if you keep all the eggs in the single basket and you fall, you will lose it. So we realized that we needed to diversify our investments. So we decided as a circle, we are going to invest in unit trusts, we are going to invest in government bonds, we are going to invest in real estate. Now where do we start from? And so we had to go out and look for people, and people came and told us what they had on the market. Yes, they told us. We invited them. What do you have? What do you give us? One thing that I appreciate about collective investment is when you have big money, you have a voice. You can negotiate. It's very beneficial to invest as a group. Even if you are a group of 10 ladies and then you come together, put your money, and so go and meet a CEO of, and they gave us different offers, and we're able to put our money in different unit trusts, and they make money. At first, we used to invest and fix money for a given period of time. And then as we read newspapers, you know, when you invest, you start read about these things, go on Google, what is happening. And then we realize, no, there's another product. Money makes money. You know, you invest unit trust, and then every day interest accrues and earn interest on interest. And you're like, yeah, let's go. Right now we have a good portfolio, about 25% of our portfolio. And our circle has an asset base of about 70 billion. And I can tell you that about 24% of our money is in financial instruments, unit trust, government bonds, and other investments.
Please clap, clap. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. I didn't hear. Woo-hoo. Okay. Yes, we were still enjoying. You're finished. Wow, I think that was inspiring, actually. You talked about the circles, and how many of us here belong to circles? At least one or two. Wow, literally half the room, over half of the room are. And how many of your circles? How many of you have circles investing in capital markets? Wow, that's quite a good number. Please clap for yourselves. I think that's something that we need to learn, that there is a concept called diversification, where you can actually put your investments in different asset classes. It doesn't have to, we're not saying go and put all your money in capital markets, no. All we're saying is, can you diversify? It's okay to build your rentals, it's fine. It's okay for you to invest in your honey's business, you know, it's okay. But can you also put some aside in the capital markets? Because you just never know where you will actually get the bread for that day or for the future. And yes, she talked about having a conversation with the CEO of CMA about where to invest. Yes, she will go and you'll talk to her, but at the end of the day, she will send you to licensed capital market intermediaries. I think that I should make that very clear. The Capital Markets Authority regulates all the players in the market. And so we do not offer investment advice, but we have investment advisors that we license, and you can visit them. All the information is on our website, www.cmauganda.co.ug. You'll get the list of brokers, you'll get the list of fund managers who help you open up your unit trust. Some of them are actually in this room, some of them have sponsored our event today. But really what this is to tell you is just invest in someone that is licensed. Do not go for anyone in the outside of the market. Yes, so can we hear from Ms. Vasta Kamara on your experience investing in the capital markets?
Thank you very much. My journey is one that starts way back. When I had just left university, I had not heard much about investments in the capital markets or anything. And so I left university excited that I'm getting a job, because I got employed actually before I graduated. Stanchart was my first employer. I was excited about the pay, And I knew that it's important to save. However, the purpose for saving was quite skewed. I was determined to save and travel the world because finally I had money and I had no other obligation.
You had
and
arrived.
traveling, I traveled. I think until 2 years down the road, I started thinking, there must be more to do. Yeah, like invest the money, let it grow. And it so happens that about that time is when the Safaricom buzz happened. I don't know if any of you participated in the Safaricom IPO. But yeah, if this market, the IPOs, it was as strange as can be, and yet it had such a buzz. And so, because everyone was, like pretty much that I knew was getting into that space, I thought to myself, I need to make a wise decision, time to invest. So I go to Dan Blair, there's a long queue, good sign. This must be a sign that this is a good investment to make. I joined the queue, I didn't even know the right questions to ask. People are, putting in lots of money. And I borrowed 10 million shillings to put in the Safaricom IPO. Now, talk about lack of information. I am borrowing, which means I have to make a monthly repayment, and dividends are not monthly returns, and they are not guaranteed by the year. So for me, the introduction into the capital market to pull my money out, because I needed to clear the loan and just understand what space is this that I'm in. Yeah, managed to secure some of the money, and I can tell you by the time I pulled out my money, I think I managed to secure just 6 million shillings. Don't tell me if I made money. But I know that for me, that left me bruised, but it also taught me a couple of lessons. It taught me that I needed to understand what I was investing in. It taught me that not everything that everyone is excited about is what I needed to invest in. And it also taught me not to borrow money, to invest. Keep to the discipline of save and then invest. And so my time in the bank thankfully exposed me into investment advisory. So I actually went ahead with billions of dollars, where to invest, how to invest. So I got a lot more knowledge about the investment space. Now, leaving the bank, I get into coaching, leadership coaching. I'm teaching people about finance. And it also enabled me strengthen my investment muscle. So now you start to understand there are different portfolios of investment. I can invest in bonds, they're more secure. I can invest in unit trusts because when I want my money, I can pick it out without losing lots of money. It's a different dynamic if it's in bonds and different dynamic if it's in equities. And so I moved Harvest Multipurpose Cooperative, opened shop in 2021. And so I became CEO later, and at that point, HMC had a portfolio of 500 million with just 200 members starting out. Now, we have since grown. Our current membership is 3,000 members. These are voluntary savers. You know if it's institution-based.
Let's clap for that.
Yeah, you know if it's institution-based, you have no choice. On this policy, you've signed up, they'll do that for you. But when you have people voluntarily putting their money aside every month, it's a sacrifice that they have made, and it clearly speaks into a discipline they are trying to grow, considering we innately as Africans are not savers. You'll save, and then a problem will come up. That's the money you'll think about immediately. You break the investment, call out the money, and this is for no more expenses. Paying rent, which you should have planned for, buying food, which you should have planned for. But I guess it's because our earnings are different dynamics. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. And so the savings muscle is one that is just developing. And so to keep encouraging members, you need to invest. I had amassed over the years. We have seen the cooperative invest in equities. And I will tell you, getting people to approve an investment in equities, you're dealing with so many leaders on the executive who are telling you, no, equities in Uganda don't work.
no, I have an experience. I mean, I also had an experience, like I shared. Others like, no, I've not seen a stock that appreciates. We managed to invest in MTN as an institution, but I can tell you it was a journey. I can't tell you how many times we called SBG to talk to our leaders. Now come, they explain, take them through the process, then the investment committee understands. Then you're like, no, it's at the executive for approval. Exco is like, no, I don't understand this thing. Maybe we should put it. Then you call them back, they explain again. So it is such a journey. And yet now I can confidently say it's probably one of our best investment decisions in the equity market that we made. Because when we see the appreciation, yes, when we see the appreciation of this, sometimes your fingers get burnt, but when you start the journey, you get better and you get better and you start to make money. So that, in a nutshell, has been our journey with a couple of other things. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Vasta, for that. I think she has actually dived into the different asset classes in the capital market space and the power of diversification, but also she's highlighted that you need to have a goal for investment and that what works for one person may not necessarily. Also, go back to a statement that President Museveni made last year at a gathering in Kololo, where he said, Ugandans need to develop the culture of raising joint capital. Collective saving is important. That is how capitalists develop their countries, by floating shares and raising capital to do big investments and ventures that they could not do individually. So you call it the power of collective investing, collective saving. But you also said something very, very important, that you cannot invest unless you have savings. So you need to first save and then invest those savings. Otherwise, you'll end up borrowing, and then it will be a very bad story for you. Yes, so thank you so much. Next, we shall have our very own medical doctor on the panel, Dr. Christine Luega. I'm very glad she's here because anytime I go into labor, I know who will work on me. So thank you, Dr. Christine. Please tell us about your investment stories.
And it was quite, I think it was a coincidence. I'm going to take you through how it started. I had some savings on my account, in the bank, the medical center. And I didn't know the where, the what, the how, and the which business to start. So I wanted a business which was stress-free, first of all. I wanted a business that is easily to monitor, something easy to monitor because I already had another business. And that won't put me at stress. And as a busy lady, I didn't want any other second demanding business. So I wanted to go again in rentals. When you're beginning rentals, you have to look for land, plan approval, building. Then you come at a house of looking for tenants there and then. My business dilemmas. Then we had a chat. Then he enlightened me about the investing my money in a house. Me, I'm more in the sciences, and he's telling me a lot of things. Now you have to do this. So at first I didn't buy it because I was thinking, now money growing without me knowing. I put my money in a fund which I don't even know. But he encouraged me and told me, you know what? You go to Britain, they'll explain something to you. So I walked into Britain, but before I walked into Britain, I did my research. Go into something I haven't read about. So I did a research, with the internet and the books that we have. I went when I was really equipped. So when I entered, I met some the investment people in Britain. They talked about so many things, and then they advised me about the different things that I have to invest in. And actually, I bought it because it was a hassle-free. All the things that I had put across before, what I wanted in a business, was with Britain. So I started my journey with them, and I returns coming into my bank account. And that is so exciting because I just sit back, and then at the end of the month, I look at my phone, wow, and the money is coming in. So that is my journey.
And that is Britam, who is also a key sponsor for today's event. We've heard from different representatives of some of the, and I do can convince you that they are actually licensed by the Capital Markets Authority. So please feel free to. So I just want to do a whole round of questions, and I know in their submission, they'll be able to tackle the question that I was actually meant to ask them next. So we can finish in time, but also exhaustively, to make sure that it was a quality delivery, yeah? So Olive, you can help me pass the mic a little bit more by the panelists. Please raise your hand. Yes.
Thank you, Lynn. My name is Hermione Nakabugo. I work for the Capital Markets Authority, so it should be strange that my input or my concern would be that we've heard about all these things, and it's mostly in English or Luzungu, Luonji, Central, South. Why aren't these things being shouted in local languages? We all know that even when you're teaching a child in elementary school, they learn more in their local language, especially if they speakify these things. Because again, the market people we are targeting, most of them speak in local languages. Even you, when you go, you naturally switch. Nyabo, as a nyanya zameka, even when you have too much English, you will come down to their level. So can we come down to that level, especially in this space and the people that we're targeting?
All right. Thank you, Hermione. There's a hand at the back, extreme back. Please, feel free to raise your hand. The men in the room, ask your questions.
Thank you so much. My name is Beated. I have a question for the panel. If there's a circle of friends, and are they able to join your circles and invest alongside you? Not many people. I happen to be from both worlds, and I asked my friend Winnie, who is my sister too. I had a boyfriend diaspora, and if we are reaching them and educating, so that that money can also be invested back home and be more efficient. And also for children, because there are packages, like personally, I pay into a 529, but what if my kids go to school here? Is there a space or a product that just targets education?
It's because they do not directly work with the intermediaries, but because I'm representing the Capital Markets Authority, and we are hosting together with this Uganda a need for capital markets information, right? Just reach out to deliver that talk on investing in capital markets. The only call to action I have is for the different market intermediaries that we have, because on where you've called us to. And so this is a call to action for all market intermediaries when you called upon to come with us to the field and spread the gospel on investing. That's 2K, lin.2K at CMA, uganda.co.ug. I will be in touch starting next week, because this week I am organizing the World Investor Week. But yes, starting next, one of our market intermediaries. Please just let us know and on that email, and we'll schedule in this. In terms on there in Chikubo, who actually have lots of money in under the bed, in the sacks, and all these places. How can we help them invite them to invest in some of these amazing opportunities? So yes, breaking down into the local languages. Again, with the market intermediaries, we have different speakers. As the Capital Markets Authority, we shall be able to schedule these visits. All right? Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Finally, a gentleman.
Yes, they say opportunity comes to those who take it.
Yes.
And I'm glad I'm the first in Britain. I've seen none of our competitor bodies has come out to speak, and this is a platform, so I'll also speak on their behalf. As a fund, whatever opportunities you need to invest in, we guide you based on where you want to invest, how you want to invest, how much you have, what goals you have. And we also, you can invite us to take you through financial sessions. If you have like circle meetings, you have club investment meetings. So please, once you reach out, she will share our details. You can come to our desks outside. There are a lot of people waiting for you. Once we do this, let's do some networking, get to know you're having, where she knew who to talk to, how to target them, or where. I think she would have used that 10 million to invest in something that would actually have given her more benefits, she would be...
The exchange and the Capital Markets Authority. Yes, please clap. If you're not in the mood of clapping, you'll do a hoo-hoo. Okay, I see what you like. So yes, and there will be exhibition halls actually already set up this if you want to sign up right away. It seems we don't have any questions for our panelists, so I'll ask my own very last question and then we can wrap up, yeah? So as a woman, and this goes to all of you, that has successfully navigated the capital markets, what are the key challenges that you have? We are streaming live on our YouTube channels on CMA Uganda and on USE Uganda. Just give them a nugget of wisdom on how all the genders, of course, but we are focused on the women today because we have been an underserved community for such a long period of time. And we are talking money, we are talking wealth. I'll start from the extreme right now.
Okay, some of the challenges that I've faced is, for example, financial knowledge. You know, how lots of bloggers that talk about finance. I think these have really had a great impact. You know, when you are scrolling through those reels and you have you see all these pages, they help you to gain this knowledge, to invest wisely, how to use them. I'm able to, you know, sustain my lifestyle for the next 6 months or year, and these are avenues that, you know, can help us in that, you know, help me, and so these really help to, you know, arm yourself to make, you know, good financial decisions. And then when you're uncertain, having, you know, the professionals, they help you really, you know, you rest your head and they're able to explain to you, and you know, they carry the burden of trying to navigate and managing the risk. Then also starting small and being consistent is one of the things that I found very key. Consistent, you see your, you know, the zeros grow and your money grow. So using these tools helps you to stay active and have that financial discipline. You know, there are apps that helps you with budgeting. You know, how do you allocate your money? So these things, these are tools. You know, when you meet the stockbrokers, then you understand. Engaging in, you know, online forums, X spaces. These are things that, especially by use of the capital markets.
Yes, thank you very much, Faith, for that. And I think one thing that comes up a lot is the technology advancements, that some of these apps are, all these investment opportunities are in form of apps, right? If you can download a budgeting app to help you keep track of your money, budget well, but also different intermediaries have advanced or are challenged to advance in the technology space and come up with all these different innovations, such as even working with, for example, the telcos to come up with a USSD on how to invest, because gone are the days where we have to carry a paper to the bank every time we want to invest in a bond, or if I want to invest in a unit trust, is there an app? Do I have to, you know, again go to the bank? So all these innovations come a long way, and I think that is something we shall be discussing more on our Capital Markets Roundtable this coming Friday. Please join us at the Kampala Serena, because we'll have all players in the market that will be talking about the aspect of innovation, digital technology, but also finance, and how we can integrate that into the capital market space. Yes, Sandra.
Thank you. Starting out, my major problem was the knowledge gap. Most of these things we see now, I think now we have the opportunity to go online and get the information. You can read about so many things, but I started out in this market in, I think, 2013. There's a lot online. So there was a knowledge gap. You're into this space. I was interfacing clients at that point, and many of them were ignorant. You're telling them about an investment or product, and they think you're lying. They've never heard of. I started out with taxes. You could have a product where you could access your money, you know, as and when. So it was quite tough penetrating the market at that point. There's a lot of information out there, and to our benefit, that even as I mentioned something, you can actually just Google, you can, just put in the company name, the fund manager's name, and then you find information. I think we've grown to that point, which is quite, I want to encourage us to leverage on is mainly the numbers and the power of compounding. Many of us want to do things alone. There are times if you needed, say, a big amount of money and 3 of you came together, that is the power of numbers. The 3 of you could share that because you want to go for it alone and you can't make the numbers at a particular time. But if you let someone help you with those numbers, say you split the burden into 3, you could do double what you could, what you can't do as a person. So for me, the power of numbers and then the power of compounding. What if I save 200,000? What interest should I expect? And of course, you give them the, the current rates, maybe a 10% per annum or an 11%, and they're saying that is very little. Not knowing that if you kept that money there, you topped it up, however little you're topping up, and then the interest, whichever interest comes in, if it keeps compounding, you're growing your money. But most people don't look at it that way. They look at, I'm starting with 100,000. If it's a 10% of that, that is very little money. 10,000 is very little. Not knowing that, it is, you'll earn interest. As time goes on, it will be 100,000 plus the 10,000. You see, if you're purchasing something and it's 100,000 and you're missing 100 shillings, that doesn't make the figure. If it's 100, it's 100. They're not going to give you the product at 99,000. So even if you're adding on 100 shillings, that is something. It's better than having, the power of numbers and the power of compounding. And then, of course, the other thing I can't stress enough is get an expert. There's nothing as bad as Britam. You could walk into any of these fund management, companies, and you get this information for free. They will not charge you for their time. It's their business. So get an expert. Talk to someone to direct you on where to go, because you'll definitely know most of these things. Personally, I'll speak about them, freely, because it's taken me time. I started out in 2013 freely because I've been in different spaces where the different investment vehicles have been used. I can freely talk about them, but it took time, and it's also because I sat down with experts. So if you go in as a layman, because everyone is going, you're going to knock, and trust me, that's not funny. That's not a beautiful scene for any, you need your money to work for you. You need to enjoy your money, not to cry about the losses you've made because you followed the crowd. Yes, those are my parting words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I think she has said it all, and information is power, really. Yeah. So please go do your research, read about all these investment opportunities that are available in the capital markets, but also you can consult with licensed intermediaries. Yes, thank you, Sandra. Mercy?
Thank you very much. One, I would like to start by, again, honoring Britam. I'm here because of Britam. And just to mention that they are the people, they know how to put information in vernacular. You don't have to be an accountant or these people who know a lot of math. However, you go to them and tell them, I want to know how my money is working. They will put the numbers in Excel, then they will add English words. Some English, but if you don't understand, I'm sure they will do some Luganda and Nyankwere and others, but they do that a lot. And for me, in this market, that's what we need, customer care. Are you able to really meet the need of your customers? That is very important, and I applaud them. If you could just give me a second to just comment on something that the people asked here. Yeah. Someone asked about the circles of friends, how people, circle industry. I think it is one of the trusted model of investment now in Uganda. I think we are now gaining space in Uganda. Those years when you would tell someone, I work with a circle, they would be like, what are you talking about? Are you sure? Couldn't you find a job in the bank? Yeah, but I can assure you that if you get into the cooperative sector, into the circle sector, and you deal with muntu wansi wananchi. Maybe it is a church, maybe it is a school, maybe it is teachers, maybe it is traders in Chikubo down there, but you find a circle somehow, somewhere. And these circles, because of technology now, we have members who are not residing here in Uganda. Our members are residing anywhere in the world because of technology. So go out, you cannot fail to get where to be if you want to join a circle. And trust me, like Vasta said, one of the things that we are very intentional about as leaders of these circles is to come up with governance structures. We're putting our members' money. That is very important for us to appreciate. The challenges. I think the ladies have talked about the challenges, but I want to first talk about my own challenge that happened to me when I was, I think it was around 2005, I started business. I was living in Kabale at that time, right? And I started business, children's clothes. And I'll come to Kampala for shopping and then go back. One time, I came to shop. It was a Saturday morning. I came with a night bus. And it was cloth. So I walk from Kabale, I mean, I'm Nacharo from Kabale. I walked to downtown. I was carrying my bag, closed my body, and behold, I sit in a shop and I start picking things. By the time I get into my bag to pick me that time, there was mobile money. But I was not very sure whether it was for me. Am I speaking to someone? Yes, there was mobile money. I was not very sure whether this mobile money was for me as Mase from Kabale doing that small business. Maybe we thought it was for big people who have lots of money, who have good phones by that time. And I am coming to a point of unwillingness to learn. Ladies, we are closed in a box. That's one of the biggest challenges that we find as ladies. We are closed in. We are risk averse. You don't want to venture into any risk because my money, if I lose this money, I am actually finished. And what men do, they will get 50% of that money and put it in a high-risk investment, another one in low or mid. Do research. Let us network. Let us talk to people who have made it. Let us sit at these tables here. You see these tables here in front. Let's sit at these tables, they're in quotes. I'm not saying the tables behind our, in quotes. I'm talking about we need to be in this space. We need to research. We need to get, Vasta talked about it. We have lots of protocols, right? Before you make an investment, you have to go through this, lots of protocols. Because, and I really understand to the board, we have people who are ready to educate us. He mentioned in Britain, you call them, they will come, and they will sit with you in the boardroom and talk about these things, right? Mention that we have people who are looking up to us. Yesterday, I got a call from one of the circles, members fix money with the circle. I mean, they fix it as 10%. And they are putting it maybe in some conventional banks, and they're giving them maybe 3% mentorship. There is vast space for mentorship. I was mentored into investments. Right now, I sit and I'm able to discuss with anyone in this sector because I understand hand or their hand and tell them, you can actually make money here. I want to part by saying, ladies, let us not be enemies of progress. Yes, let us not be enemies of progress, especially when it comes to our own investments. You know many people you're going to serve. Some of us who are in the circle space, every day I receive about 10 members who come to question, ask, where can I put my money? What is working? Deal cheek at chechiriwo, you get it? If you don't have information, you cannot help your people. And if you cannot help your people, then you can next to you. I always tell people, this is my last statement, I always tell people that some time back, I used to go to these big malls, Capital Shop. Next to you, there is this lady who has a small shop, right? And they have 3 or 4 bars
of soap. And actually their soap is cheaper capital they have. You don't know the impact you have created in that family. You have paid, you've bought a meal for the family, you have paid and learn and impact communities. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much for that impactful message, Mercy. Yes, Pastor. And Christine, in 2 minutes, please, as we wrap up.
Wow, 2 minutes. All right. Challenges, I'll try and keep it short. I think I'll share challenges that I've experienced in 3 forms. Lack of resilience, mentorship, technology are not savers. But I like the group spaces that we are starting to see people get into investment clubs and empower people in those spaces, because when people are challenged, then they are encouraged to do more. When we started the cooperative in 2020 of the members, that has since grown to having at least 75% of members consistently saving. And it's a journey. You need spaces where you're going to be long term. The second one is mentorship. Like Mercy has said, many of us go out there and we're doing things in secret because you're thinking, it might work, it may not work, my thing will be copied. You just want to surprise people. Unfortunately, you end up getting surprised. Yes. I'm happy to say that Mercy is actually one of my mentors in this cooperative space, because when we started out, we didn't know so much. And the people in the cooperative and SACCO space have created such a community that I can go and invite Wazalendo to our AGM and they'll show up. And they will advise you during the AGM. Our last AGM, we had 2 trillion. But it's because of the journey we have made. And just seeing these people's lives changed and being transformed, it just gives you the picture of we can get there. My ask and prayer is that we utilize many of these platforms more. The reason people end up in Ponzi schemes, what is in a squeeze back on a TV, what has a big billboard, attracting them to walk in and make quick money, if we could create more visitors stand. And so that is something that I think we need to work on, because it's a journey, but we will get there. My parting shot, I read that somewhere, and I thought this was really interesting, that the biggest risk of all is not taking one. The biggest risk is not making an investment. Yeah, you'd think investments are risky, I do not know them. But the biggest risk is actually not making an investment, because the more you hold on to your money, whether you're keeping it or not, and I think this needs to go hand in hand with saying that we need to have a long-term perspective while we do this. I appreciate that this is a women's space, because women tend to have a long-term perspective. I'm sure the people in the insurance space will tell you when they are talking about SOMA and school insurance policies, the people that quickly sign up are the women, because they're thinking, how do I secure education for our children? I think about 300 billionaires that exist today are billionaires because they inherited wealth. It's not a thing of, I'm going to be the billionaire, it starts with me and ends with me, you know, that kind of thing. And I think as Africans, if we change that perspective, that we are investing for the long-term perspective. And of course, Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So
I think the one thing she talked about was about investing in regulated entities, but also the visibility of these market intermediaries. I think that's another about the different investment opportunities that they're offering to the Ugandan public, for example, because this is something that can actually change someone's life. And for me, the other call is to the public. Please, if you see an unregulated, I should call them schemes, Ponzi schemes, scams, but they're also here to deter progress in a capital market space. Because, I mean, you said people invest and they don't want anyone else to know, and then they end up getting surprised. That's what happens when you, but also check the status. Is it licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, especially if it's getting money from the public? Thank you so much. I am glad that no one has called her, and we are still safe with her. So please, Dr. Christine, you can give us your parting shots, challenges, and all that.
Thank you very much. The beauty part of it, to be the last speaker, most of them they haven't mentioned is, for me, as a person, it was trust. I've kept it for some time and someone gives you that you have to put it somewhere. So I had to build trust. But I thank Britam. It has really given me comfort and it has really advised me where I should put my money. And that challenge, I think I've that one at least I've, I think, passed it. So the only challenge there, it was trust. The rest have been mentioned. So I'll go to the advice that I give women in business or people who are choosing to invest. So one advice, most of them have been said, but one thing I should tell you is always have objectives. Do you want to invest in long term? Do you want to invest in short term? Do you want liquidity? These are the things you should think about before you join in. Don't go, what do you want in the future? So secondly, another thing you should think about is choosing the right investment managers for your money. But do your research. For me to choose a company, I had to do research. And for sure, I didn't regret about it. So please, before you choose anything, choose something, choose an investment, people who are available. I just make a phone call and Britam answers. There are people you call and they don't even answer you. But at least at Britam, doctors, but I'm going to encourage the doctors to start investing. Never fear to invest. However small money that you have, you can start small. You'll never become bigger if you don't start small. You know, some people think when you invest in these capital markets, you have to have, it grows. And actually, instead of getting loans, you rather put that money as time, you can accumulate that money as your money is working for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And another round of applause for all the Uganda Securities Exchange and Altex Africa Group. We have licensed unit trust managers. Some of them have been mentioned, but as a regulator, I don't want to, Technologies, Britam Asset Managers, SBG Securities. Then for the licensed brokers, we have Crested Capital, SBG Securities, Dyer & Blair, Old Mutual, Cheaper Technologies. For the licensed investment advisors, we have Blue, Solitaire, Investment, Sail Global, PKF Consulting, Old Mutual, Standard Chartered Bank, Profin Group Limited, Agola Holdings, Asigma Capital, Regency Wealth Management, Level Africa, JSR Consulting. And for the licensed fund managers, again, we have IC Agent Africa, Zeno Technology out licenses, and we always publicize the list of licenses on our social media channels. Please follow us. Thank you so much. Let's have a group photo and then we can wrap up. A round of applause.
Thank you so much, Lynn, and all the panelists. I know we are not doing so well on time. Irene has been gracious enough to bring Big Bank to quickly come and say something in 2 minutes. Then after Sophie will have Irene give her closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay, I'll keep it exactly 2 minutes. Good morning. All protocol observed. The CEOs here of capital markets and USC, thank you for the invitation, and all the companies that you run. Thank you for running those companies. So allow me to speak on behalf of Stanbic. I actually represent Stanbic Uganda. We have more than the bank now. We have as well. We have an incubator. Some of you know about it, Stanbic Business Incubator. We also do have FlyHub, which is a technology firm. Level of I want to take it to the population statistics that we had recently. I don't know how many of us paid attention, apart from some of the noises that came from it. Trying to think and form how you discuss or think about your investments. The bigger population of Uganda is how old? 50% is below what? 19. We need to be thinking together about the younger population if we are going to make this nation move forward. Someone actually said that we need to be at the table. They're saying, what can we do for Uganda? What can we do for X? What can we do for Y? We need to come to a place where we have built sufficient knowledge and expertise. Now, as a nation, and I think Capital Markets is doing a good job. I looked at the population here. We're trying to get the knowledge to everybody, but each of us has a task. And from Stanbic, I really want to emphasize the thought process around that population, because most of us here, a few years from now, 4 families, you've heard of the story, right? Not only will the person not only are you paying for their school fees, you're also going to pay for their marriage, and also for their what? The home stuff. That's what we're at risk of. We need to think very hard about investments. It's not a question of whether I should invest or save. All the other ladies, and for us ladies, it's not a question. It's very easy for us to pull others. So the circle structure is a very good one. The circle structure, the investment clubs, it is without a question. Whether you are in a big investment club or a small one, remember the principle of long-term thinking. It grows. So now what I'll say about Stanbic is we do offer subsidized lending rates and facilities for the circles so that you can expand. Borrowing in and of itself is not bad. It is the lack of discipline. It's the lack of discipline. So what we do is offer those particular subsidies. I'll speak about the first one. When I was in university, I got into the pyramids. I don't know how many were old enough at that time. But I got into the pyramids and I lost my knowledge is available. Guess what? If you're lazy, we have a young population, isn't it? The one thing they have is the what? The phone. Why don't you encourage your kid to actually do? And that will trigger information for you to invest. As opposed to being, many of us are so worried about reading all those big books. The kids will actually read it. Western world come to Uganda. And guess what? They've actually come using their own savings, not their parents' money. Can't we do the same for our children? Interested in stock. The reason why the Western world is doing well is because the private sector is predominantly the one that runs the economy. But if we cannot grow the knowledge of our companies, our smaller companies, and get them to a level where they actually get to decision making, it's going to be a challenge. So start with your kid. Start with them at a young age. Get me information about Stanbic. Get me information about MTN. Get me information about, name it, all the companies listed here. That is building their knowledge. They will begin to challenge you even in your investment. And you know when a kid challenges you, you will step it up. You don't have a choice, isn't it? So at the incubator, the business incubator for facilities, not just within Stanbic alone, may I add. As you get this knowledge and build the right structure, we'll be able to attract the right angel investors. Kenya gets, last year Kenya got about close to $1 billion. It was about $800 million. Huge difference. What do you think is the challenge? It is the lack of information. Before I invest in a company, many of these Western world, they want, very important that we put the right structures in place. And one of the areas you can get information on how to do that is our business incubator. As Stanbic, we vow to, there is a saying, and I think one of our panelists mentioned it here, that if you want to go quickly, go alone. But national growth perspective. If I can challenge us, ladies and gentlemen, even gentlemen in the room, I think the time has come for Africa. We need to work together. We cannot afford to say it's just my circle here, it's just my company here. We need to be working together to make sure that our continent gets on the map and stops being on the table. Africa has to stop being discussed on the table. We have to be at the table, and we have what it takes. So I'll encourage you, for those of you who don't have structures, our incubator is open. Learn how to get the structures in place, the right information so that you attract the investors, and make your business grow. The last point I'll mention, ladies, let's start thinking long term. And gentlemen who are here, I respect you. This is quite a bit of feminine energy. We bring the energy in the room. So I respect you. let us learn how to think long term. The reason why many have fallen for Ponzi schemes is because we want quick money. Where is the next big deal? I should be thinking, because remember, 70% are below 30. So that's going to be churned into the workforce in the next 20 years, isn't it? Yeah? Actually, 50% are below 19. That's the whole workforce. So for us here who are already employed, that's competition for you. That's coming for your job. What if we teach these kids how to think, kid begin to think long term? That is our country beginning to develop. The challenge we have is that we have money only for today. We need patient money, and that's what the capital is. SBGS, we can offer you that, and I think the other companies have also been mentioned, but SBGS, we can also offer you CIS, investments in all these other platforms. All these other investment platforms can be offered to you through SBGS. As Stanbic, we are happy. We say our purpose is driving Uganda's growth. We are cognizant of the fact that we have the first company in Uganda that is competing at an African level. Is that possible? Talked about, apart from just Dangote's farm. Is it possible? And it will even be more exciting if they're ladies, because the woohoo will be higher, not so, eh? It will be much louder. So once again, thank you for the opportunity. We are very happy to partner with you. We have people who can give you the advice within SBG Securities, within Stanbic Bank, within the incubator. Let's make sure that 10 years from now, we're in a much better place. Have a lovely morning. Thank you.
Wasting any more time, Irene, please step forward. A round of applause as Irene comes to give her closing remarks.
So yes, ladies, good afternoon. It's already afternoon, it's not morning anymore. Good afternoon, ladies, and the gentlemen who have made their biggest role in complimenting us. So thank you so much for making it. It's dubbed as the World Investors Week, right? Now, to me, when I was informed, actually it came to my attention yesterday that I was going to give closing remarks. Don't mind about the invitation letter that came in earlier, and I knew all that we needed to do was to be part of the event, but also to Capital Markets Authority. And this takes me back to 24 years ago, so don't calculate my years. But I'll get closer to 2008. So my background is in journalism. But when I dived into journalism, my specialty was in business reporting. So I did a lot on what you're all speaking about, and I want to align myself to the lady, Allen from Smart TV, where you dropped. So in 2008, one of my best awards that I received was with Uganda Securities Exchange. And this was in public awareness of IPO and all that. But there was this lady called Harriet Chiwanuka who mentored me. Most of the panelists talked about mentoring. You need to find out who can mentor you. And so I spent almost all my time building my journalism in understanding what is Securities Exchange. And that same year, I was able to register a company, which celebrated 15 years last year. So of course, within the same journey, it was really an award that came with a compliment of Stanbic. And like they've mentioned, sometimes we don't go back to understand we need to top up or, you know, do you need to sell? So I've never topped up on that. In time was about financial inclusion. And so I did a lot of financial inclusion features whereby I was able to promote women again to understand where best can they be in position to invest. And so that is my story of coming back home when I was told, you come and give their closing remarks. So thank you so much. And I don't think when I know a lot of information will be shared. At the end, I'll speak about the action that I think will be a call of action. But allow me to speak to the speech that the marrying women, as well as investors. This room is filled with women, full of warmth, but also looking forward to receive the information that we received this morning. The two panel groups that we had since the first one and the second one, which has just concluded, is such a resource that I believe we're not going to be the same anymore. To me, actually, I have already made a decision that part of my money should be invested in another unit trust. I'm already in some unit trust. So thank you, Sir's work. Our discussions, as you've already heard today, have not only reinforced the immense potential that lies in the tech-enabled financial inclusion, but also underscored the critical importance of bridging investment opportunities to women. And this is where the point is. So as we reflect just an idea, it is a reality that we are building together. We've heard from the lady from Stanbic Bank saying we need to move together. You cannot move alone anymore. So technology has opened doors that were once closed, allowing women, irrespective of their backgrounds, geographies, CEO Forum. I wear a number of hats, but let me talk about Presidential CEO Forum. We have a mandate of convening CEOs, and I believe are hosted by the president. I only focused on women, and so I called Women in Business. And the success stories that stay the same. To date, I'm proud to say that there's some women in this country that have been able to nurture, to touch, to share the belief that we have richest women in this country. And so those are the ones now we should also profile, yeah? And so that we can encourage others. So it is very important that we look at these transformational workshops or breakfasts that will encourage so many of us to be part of those women. Wealth, building potential for women, allowing them to participate in capital markets, invest in businesses, and also gain financial independence. Today, we have seen and we have had a number of people talk about the different barriers, information gap, mention it. Banking statements speak for what they are doing. So as leaders in our own various capacities, the private sector and public sectors, it is our responsibility to champion this cause. And as such, let's clap for capital markets and Uganda Securities Exchange. Our task has been made clear. We must work together to create policies, platforms, and products that are inclusive by design, but also tailored to the needs of decision makers. Today's gathering, ladies and gentlemen, has really amplified me and motivated me more to think about what else can we do for women. That is taken on, and I want also to pride by saying that that was 2021 equity. In this financial year, we are proud to say that the income tax has been exempted from both private equity and the capital ventures. And that, to me, Josephine, we need to continue the conversation and we build more on how best we can build more strategies that can bring about empowering women. So I encourage every CEO in this room, business leaders and policymakers here today, to not only continue the work we have begun, but to accelerate what we have begun. So let us focus on collaboration between the public and private sectors, between industries and also investors, to ensure that the driving of sustainable solutions, that we have long-term impact. Everyone has talked about what is the long-term impact. This is very important for women and to have them be financially empowered. And so as I close, I want to extend my heartfelt and to everyone who has made it a mandate. This is intentional for you to be able to come and stay all these 5-6 hours this morning. So thank you so much. As we talk about getting to the table, let's also get to the drawing board and see what else should be done. So thank you so much for being part of this journey. Let us also move forward empowered, then they empower the world. And as such, as I conclude saying for God and my country, my call to action, as I promised, is Madame Josephine. Let's have a program in the radio stations and let's create awareness about what it means to have alternative financing. Our target is not only the people in this room, but every to change this world. She earlier mentioned, can we translate in the different languages? That is possible. But partnering and collaborating with key institutions that create awareness, trust me, we will then be in position to build this conversation on financial inclusion to greater levels, but also speak to what government is talking about, the tenfold economy. it can only be achieved by the women. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this afternoon, for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Irene. At this point, we're going to have a quick photo moment. I'm going to request Josephine and Paul to please join Irene up on stage for photo. I'm going to request Josephine and Paul, apologies for disturbing you. We want to have a quick photo with the sponsors today. Our sponsors today, we have Smart24, we have the MTN, we have the Deposit Protection Fund, we have Stanbic, we have ICEA, Gen Africa, Britam, the Deal Flow Facility, Bank of Bar. As they walk up, please be informed that the World Investor Week is still on, and on Friday we'll be at Serena, Essence Players, so please feel free to walk up to them after this and just get more information from them. Both, thank you so much for supporting us and for partnering with us. And we hope that you'll continue to work together with the CMA and the USA. All right, thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, all good things. Unfortunately, as we wrap up, that QR code you see on the screen, we know ladies love pictures. So just scan that code and you'll have access to all the pictures that have been taken today. But also I've been informed that there's a photo booth right outside for those of you who would want to take some more photos. And we also thank the online audience. I know there are quite a number of questions online, but our PR team will be able to respond to most of those questions. See you on Friday.